A lot of you guys have messaged me asking, how do I get out of drawdown? I always feel like it's the end for me when I'm down -6 to -10%. And you end up blowing up your account and just buying and getting another account, wasting money on these challenges on these accounts. And you ask me, CIC, how do I recover from drawdown? How can I recover from this? To give the real answer, I purposely, right over here, put myself in drawdown just to show you how to get out of it with actual proof, right? You know, I wouldn't teach you guys something without proof. I wanted to experience it firsthand so I could share the actual process of me getting out of the drawdown, right? I didn't just recover. I did it with a de-risking trade. The trade I took was a de-risk, right? I did not even use my initial size. If I were to use my initial size, I would have made bag out of this, right? Yet I still managed to get out of the drawdown. You know, this is how you actually get out of drawdown. No BS, with proof right over here. This is the proof that we got out of drawdown. You see, we had the first trade negative 1.5 RR, second trade negative 1.5 RR, negative 3%, another trade negative 2.5 RR. That right there, we're down -6 RRs. That means we're down -6%. The ideal stage of where most of you guys get to the drawdown stage, where, you know, after -6%, you're usually on a drawdown, right? This is how you can actually get out of the drawdown and actually get out of it. You know what I'm saying? Because out of here, you're down by so much, you got out of it instantly. This is how you can actually get out of drawdown with actual proof. What is the proof? Right over here. And I want to show you guys an example. I want to show you guys how to get out of drawdown. What I'll show you guys a actual, proof. I want to show you guys. As you guys know, everything I tell you guys, I show you with proof. Right? My trading rules. When I say this is my specific trading rule. It's supposed to give me, really high probability setup. And this setup right over here is low probability setup because it breaks my trading rule. I do not lie about it. Right? Today, this setup right over here broke my trading rule, so he failed, right? Yes, something's gonna work out, that's not gonna work out, right? But over the long term, it's not going to work out in my favor, right? Because of second order consequences, right? I have everything backed with proof. My signals, everything's backed with proof, right? Everything I say is always backed with proof. This is how you can actually get out of drawdown. No BS, right? No bullshit, no nothing like that, right? How did I manage to get out of drawdown even when de-risking? In this trade, I de-risked about 0.70%, right? That is very low. That's very low. That's basically risking only $250, right? I only risked like what? $300, right? I only risked $300. I did not even risk 500, right? If I was to risk 500, this right over here would have gotten me out of drawdown and gotten me, another payout. Right, another funded account, right? But show you guys an actual way to how to get out of it. I de-risked and I still got out of the drawdown. How did I manage to do that? In a perfect video. Let's get straight into it, right? Real quick before we start off, make sure you guys join our Discord. Link is down below. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, share, and I'll see you guys out of Discord. Let's get straight back into it, right? And we're down -6% right over here. And we got out of drawdown with a de-risk trade, which where I only risked about 0.70%, when I'm usually supposed to be risking always 1%, which is 500, right? But I only risked what? 0.70%, which is 300 only. And I managed to get out of drawdown. How did I manage to get out of drawdown? Simply because of multiple factors, right? And this is how you can actually get out of drawdown. Let's get straight into it, right? Number one is you must always follow your strategy. You must always be disciplined. You must always never break your rule amidst the chaos, amidst being in very deep drawdown. Doesn't matter how bad of a deep drawdown you are. Does not matter if you're in drawdown for -16%. It's not matter how bad down you are, you will never break your trading rule, right? Second, you always seek to learn, right? When you drawdown, that means market is telling you something. When I was in drawdown, I purposely got in here, right? When I was in drawdown, market purposely told me something. What they told me to follow my rules. What they told me to not buy in premium. What else did they tell me to look for a retracement for the fourth week of the month, to prioritize time over price, right? It told me something. It told me something else as well. To only for a threshold entry of a number one, I must always have the right number one, even with a threshold entry. So during this losing streak, in a drawdown of -6%, and when I got out of it, it told me something. So you follow your rule regardless amidst the chaos. You always gotta be disciplined. Second, you always gotta seek to improve. You always gotta seek to learn and learn lessons, right? Every loss you have should always be a lesson. The only loss that you will count as a probability loss if that loss does not break your trading rule. But everything else is always has to be a lesson. Even a win will be a lesson. What will this win give you right over here? When I got a drawdown, what did this win do to me? It gave me that mental toughness that, okay, when I get in drawdown in the future, I can get out of it easily without worrying, right? But in this example, right, when I got in drawdown, I did it purposely just to show you guys how I get out of it. But, I went down to the trenches for you guys to just get out of it, right? This is literally, back with proof, right? Because obviously you could see in the chart, I don't know how you could fake this shit, but other thing you must always do is you must always build good habits and gain satisfaction from building habits. You must always know that drawdown will always be a stage of your career. You will always face drawdown. You will always face losses, right? It's part of the process. And you must always focus on the long-term longevity instead of short-term. Short-term, you may face fluctuation, right? You can see short-term, you may face losses, but long-term, you're going to go up higher, right? You always have to think in that long-term longevity, right? You always have to think in the second-order consequences, right? As well. What else do you need to know how to get out of the drawdown stage? You must, every time you're in a drawdown, you must always have to seek to have a mental toughness. What I mean by mental toughness, even when you're down so much, right? You follow your rules, okay, you're disciplined, but you must not feel a singular emotion, right? In this drawdown, when I was down -6%, and when I got a drawdown with one single trade, with a direct trade, when I got a drawdown, during this drawdown stage, when I had it right over here, I did not let it affect any of my emotion. I as well built mental toughness. How do you build mental toughness? Is through working out. When you work out and you have a headache, and when you work out so hard, you get a headache from working out, you're building up a mental toughness. You have to get your brain to stress, right? You're trading, you do the same thing. When you're deep drawdown, when you just see red completely, nothing green, you can over there build mental toughness by telling us, okay, it's part of the process, is this, is that, is that, right? Saying affirmations or whatever to keep to make your mind have in a state where it's just building mental toughness. What is the mental toughness used for? It's used for more longer term longevity. So now, once you get out of drawdown, let's just say in the future you fuck up one more time, you can drawdown, right? But you can get out right back out of it, because during the early stages you faced multiple drawdowns, you got out of it easily. So at the early stage, you built that mental toughness, right? What else do you need? That is all you need, right? And this you need multiple other things as well, like having the right amount of RR, only going for a 2R and above, having the right win rate. So it depends on your win rate. I have a 40% win rate. That's why you see these losses being normal, right? These losses to me are completely normal, right? These are not losses which are rare. They're normal for me, right? I have a 40% win rate. I go for a 2RR and above. And this is only one trade, by the way, right? There's one trade got me a drawdown, right? Just keep in mind, one trade. So the next trade I take, I could possibly be up even more, right? I have a 40% win rate. That means 60% of the time I'm losing, but I'm going for a 2RR and above. And this trade was a 15-hour setup, right? 15 to 16-hour setup. And you must have the right amount of win rate. You must know your win rate. You guys gotta go. You guys can't just guess your win rate being 70%. Stop trying to make up some bullshit. If you do not see yourself having a 70% win rate, stop saying you have a 70% win rate, right? I have a 40% win rate. That's why you guys see me having more losses, right? That's why you see his losses being natural, right? How do you know what's your win rate? Simply guessing, right? You could guess. Just look at the past couple weeks, couple months. Okay, for the past couple months, how much I lost. Okay, I faced a lot of losses, so I'll probably have like a 40% win rate, right? You could take a guess, and you would know. Eventually, that guess, you use that guess as a data. So I make a guess of me having a what? 40% win rate, right? Now, since I took the guess, now I have to go check out the RR for me to be profitable. So if a person who has a 40% win rate, in order for them to be profitable in the long term, they must only go for a 2RR, right, and above. So this 40% win rate says I have a 40% win rate, and I guessed it, right? Sometimes you don't have to guess; you can just go by data. But sometimes it's better to guess, right? But when you guess, do not say fucking unrealistic numbers. Say realistic numbers. Your realistic number being, 10% win rate, right? Not a 10% win rate. I mean like 30% win rate, 40% win rate, 50% win rate. Do not say fucking 70%, 80%. You do not. If you're in a drawdown, right, and you say you have a 70% win rate, you're fucking lying. You're in drawdown for a reason, right? So since I only have a 40% win rate, I must always go for a 2RR and above. I cannot take anything below 2RR. Anything below, 2RR, I cannot take it. I must always go for a 2RR and above, right? If I go anything that is below 2RR, I cannot go for it, because over the long term, that will set me to be not profitable. But over the long term, you will know, okay, right now, currently, I have a 40% win rate. Over the long term, it's going to increase to 50%, 60%, 70%, 80%. And keep in mind, this is not my actual win rate. My actual win rate is different, right? I won't tell you guys my actual win rate, but just for the sake of this video, I have a 40% win rate. And you guys see my live stream, you guys saw me say, you guys hear me say, well, you say in the live stream you have a 40% win rate. Yeah, no shit. You guys gotta think about it. You gotta use psychology in this shit, right? In trading, you gotta always use psychology, right? You gotta use psychology. If you say to yourself, I have a 70% win rate, and you don't have 70% win rate, and you will always expect 7 out of 10 trades to be winners, you are not going to fucking be in the right state of the mind. So you think, oh, I have a 70% win rate. The next 7 trades, I will be all winners. Fuck no. Market will come back down, stop you out even more. And eventually you think, oh, I have a 7% win rate to be winning the next trades. You take some random ass trades, so you think you're going to win. You do not fucking win. Because why? Because you set up a fucking, you think you're that guy who's trying to be, who's trying to say something he's not, right? In life, you want to say something you are, right? You want to say something that you can actually accomplish, right? Having a 60%, 70% win rate is very accomplishable, right? But you always want to say, less than that you have, right? So if I have a 80% win rate, I want to say I have a 60% win rate, because so I know over the long term, and let's just say sometimes I lose 4-hour trade. So I say I have a 60% win rate. So those losses are natural right there. So 40% of the time I'm gonna be losing, right? So but guess what? I have an 80% win rate. So when the time comes around, when you lose more than 2 trades in a row, you lose 4 trades, you'll know, okay, I have a 60% win rate, because you gotta show less than you have, right? So if I say how to say, right? Show less than what you actually have, right? So if I have, let's just say, 90,000 salary yearly, I'm gonna say I have a 40,000 or 60,000 salary. I will not say I have a 90,000 salary, right? I would say less than I have, because people will, overtake you, right? They will try to do some bullshit with you, right? They're trying to fuck up, try to fuck you up, right? People will envy you and all that bullshit. In trading, that's not the cause, but in trading, you always want to do the same thing. You always want to say lesson you have. So if you have a 90% win rate, right? You want to say you have a 60%. So if you lose, let's just say, 4, 5, 6 trades in a row, you can say, if you just say 4 trades in a row, you can say I have a, okay, I have a 60% win rate, so 4 trades are normal, 4 losing trades are normal, right? So the next trade I'll probably have a winner, right? If I follow my rules. If I don't follow my rules, it's gonna be more losers, right? So if you have an 80% win rate, like, you could say you have a what? 50% win rate, right? I personally, I don't have it. I do not have an 80% win rate. I have about 60% win rate, but I say I have a 40% win rate. Because see, when I have a 60% win rate, which I do right now currently, I would say I have a 40% win rate, right? Why would I say I would have a 40% win rate and not a 60% win rate? Because if I lose more than 4 trades in a row and I lose 6 trades in a row, I could be like, okay, that's normal because I have a 40% win rate. I lost negative 1 RR, negative 1.5, negative 1.5, that's negative 3, that's negative 2, that's negative 5 RR right over here, negative 5.6, 5.5 RR, somewhere like that. Then eventually 6.5, negative 6.5 RR right over here, all combined. Now this tells me, says I have a 60% win rate and I took 6 losses in a row. That's normal for me because I said I have a 40% win rate, right? I obviously do not have a, 40% win rate. I have like a 60, 70% win rate. But these losses, keep in mind, all these losses were never a actual loss. They were a purpose loss as well. There was a lessonable losses, right? All these losses were used as a lesson. So, and these losses were used to sharpen my edge, sharpen my arsenal even more. So in the future, losses like this will not happen, right? They will never happen again because I read it. I said in my rule, and I never. You gotta keep to your words. I never break my rule. You should you. Once if I make a mistake once, I never make the same mistake ever, right? But this is how you actually get a drawdown. First, you must always follow your rules and must being in drawdown. It doesn't matter how bad in drawdown, you must always follow your rules. Almost always be disciplined, right? Second, you must always, shit, I forgot the word. But you must always, yeah, I gotta think about it in my head. 1 second, chat. I gotta think. You must always be focused on the long-term longevity instead of short-term. You must always build good habits and gain satisfaction from the good habits. You must use all of your drawdown losses. You must use all of your losses as a lesson, as an improvement, not as a probability loss. Since you're in a drawdown, you're in drawdown for a reason. It's not a probability loss. The only time it's a probability loss if you have a actual loss where you do not break any of the rule, right? You don't break any rule and you take a loss as a good probability loss, but everything else will be used as an improvement. A win could be used as an improvement, a loss could be used as an improvement. A probability loss, it's just a consistent thing, right? You just get it consistent, right? Other than that is you must always, just forgot the word. You must always have the right win rate and the right RR, right? My RR, I usually go for a 2R and above. My win rate is 40%. So if I have a 40% win rate and I go for a 2R and above, over the long term, over 10 trades, I'm profitable by 1 RR. Fantastic, right? So I could lose 6 trades and I'll still be up. I think 2 or 1 RR, doesn't matter how much I'm up, right? But I'll still be up, right? You must always know that as well. And you must always have the right win rate. My win rate, you could take a guess on your win rate, but you don't even have to take a guess. Just go look your past couple of trades, past couple months or 2 months trades. Okay, this is how much I lost. I took this many trades. Okay, I have this much of win rate. Okay, or you can take a guess. Just say it's like your mind will tell you. Your mind will actually tell you the actual answer sometimes, right? Michael says, okay. Michael say like, okay, I have a 40% win rate. Why? Because like your mind will sometimes tell you the actual answer, so you just listen to your mind sometimes, right? But sometimes for you to listen to your mind, you first must build it up. You must always build it up as a mental toughness, and you must always use drawdown as a way to build mental toughness for the future. In this case, you're in drawdown for what? Negative 6% is how much in a 50K account? It's what? 1% is 2% is 1K. 2K. Like, let's just say you're down 3.5K. 3.5K usually a 6% drawdown, right? So since that's a 6% drawdown, or 3K, somewhere around there, right? Since that's a drawdown right over there, all you gotta do is use this as an improvement in the future, because this time you're only in drawdown for what, 3K. In the future, you're gonna be drawdown for fucking 40K, 60K, 70K, right? You always gotta think long term. That's why you want to build that's why you want to build your mental toughness right now at the early stage, right? So if you're a trader who's dealing with a couple thousand, now with hundreds of thousands, you could build up your mental toughness right now. So once in the future you go and drawdown, you do not care about it, right? Because you built a mental toughness in the early stages, so that being down 80,000, 90,000 is not a problem for you, right? It's just a, now they're in the office, you get out drawdown, you go right back to going to the upside, because every time you go down, you climb up back stronger, right? I got down and I climb back up stronger by one single trade, right? So yeah, this is how you get out of drawdown. This is how you can actually get out of drawdown with actual proof, not faking my shit, right? So yeah, thanks for watching. Wish you guys like, comment, subscribe, share, and join the Discord. Link this shit down below. And I'll see you guys at Discord. Peace out.